Billy Mitchell, thanks for joining us and agreeing to speak with LFE. It's special insights into being a professional footballer, and we're going to share this with academy players, parents, and staff too. And thanks again, especially given that you're playing away tonight at Plymouth. Appreciate the time you've taken out. So, by way of introduction, you've come through the academy journey, excelled into a first team environment at championship level, battling out in midfield, wearing the number 8 shirt for Millwall. Just paint a bit of a picture, really, for us about how you got to this point.
So I think there are a lot of different journeys for young lads to come into the first team. My particular story was that I joined Millwall when I was 15 years old in the under 15s age group. I think it was in the October or November. I'd had a few trials at professional clubs prior to joining Millwall, but nothing had worked out. So other than that, I played Sunday League football in the Kent League, which is obviously was the county that I was from, for the local district, for the county, but not for school. We didn't have a school football team where I went to school. Um, Joined Millwall, maybe quite fortunate to get a contract at the time, and just ground it out really. Considered myself very lucky to be there. Plenty of players that were far better than what I were, but just managed to sort of make steady progress and progress for the age groups. Was lucky enough to get a scholarship. First year of my scholar was pretty average, and then in the second year, they gave me the captaincy, and I feel like I kind of began to excel with a little bit more responsibility. Made my debut on the last game of the championship season in as a second year scholar away to Wigan, only for about 12 minutes, and then after that, managed to get a professional contract, and slowly but surely just was integrated more and more into the first team to finally get to where I am today.
And how did it feel waiting to find out if you were going to receive that professional contract?
It's a tough time. I felt more confident about receiving the professional contract than what I did my scholarship. Getting the scholarship was a bigger deal because we had a lot of talented midfielders in the under 16s at the time, and to be honest, I really wasn't sure that I was going to get one. Once I did, I just tried to use those 2 years to develop as much as possible, take on as much information. I was lucky to have two great coaches that we've just spoken about in Larry and Chris, who were the under 18s coaches at Millwall. Um, I felt relatively confident I was going to get a pro contract because not many of the boys had made professional debuts at that time. But even so, just because you've made one professional appearance means absolutely nothing. The hard work starts then. So it was a relief because you officially have that job title of being a professional footballer. One that so few people get to actually say they've achieved. So it was a big moment.
Absolutely. I believe some of your family Millwall fans as well, maybe even going back as far as your great granddad, I found out when I was having a Google. How did you manage moving through the age groups and then into the first team and integrating into that environment? How did that feel? And also, how was that perceived by your family and friends too?
Yeah, is I think different characters can find getting integrated into the first team more or less difficult, depending on how chatty you are, depending on what kind of group that there is in the first team at the time. I was very lucky. I feel like there was a really solid group of senior players and younger players in the first team at the time. A few of whom had come through Millwall's academy as well, so they understood the pathway that I was taking on and took me under their wing really well. Some of the senior players, one that comes to mind would have been Sean Williams, who played in midfield for Millwall, Alex Pearce, Jed Wallace, Matt Smith. And as I was coming through, I just always tried to make an effort to talk to them. Obviously as an 18, 19-year-old, some of your teammates are going to be older than 30. You don't have that much in common. They have houses and cars and wives, girlfriends even I didn't have at the time. So it is hard to find common ground, but I think that they appreciate a young lad who comes and tries to make conversation with them and respects the fact that I was working hard on the pitch as well. So I think that over time we just built a relationship where you can get more integrated into the group's banter. You go on their team nights out, and it just kind of happens very naturally. I don't think it's something you can rush or force. It just takes time. Um, I'm lucky to have fantastic family support. as you know, they're all from like the South London area. So they were always able to take me to and from training, come and watch me play games. So and I realised that some kids don't have that when they move away. So I felt very lucky.
Oh, nice. And leading up to joining the first team, and then once you've integrated and then becoming more established, what sort of things do you tell yourself, both positive, negative, in the way of self-belief?
It is tricky because there obviously are going to be some real highs and there are going to be a few lows where when you're trying to prove yourself, inevitably things go wrong. My first couple of appearances for Millwall under the old manager Neil Harris were pretty good. When I made my sort of full debut for Millwall at the Den, we played in a cup game to Newport County, and I really didn't think I played all that well. And all of a sudden, you think, Jesus, have I blown it already on my third appearance, first home start, and you're worried about what the fans think. There's a lot that can go through your head. But I think that provided you have that inner self-belief, you have to realise that, yes, football is cutthroat, but I think there is sometimes a little bit more slack than what people can make out. And I think providing people can see that you are willing to work and you are willing to improve and get better, then they will give you the benefit of the doubt and stick with you. And I think that that's the way that I try to approach it. And then obviously you have to have people that, do believe in you. And I was fortunate to have that at Millwall. I think my youth coaches instilled a lot of confidence in me as well. They made me feel good about some of the things that I was good at, and worked really hard with me on the things that I wasn't so good at. And I felt like I had a pretty well-rounded, reliable game going into first team football, which I think is sometimes more important than being exceptional at one thing.
That makes sense. And so you can apply yourself as well as you do. We can never guarantee success or results on the field. And football can be difficult to just deal with at times. How do you look after your own personal mental health and general well-being?
Talking, I think, is important. I understand that I'm lucky to have family that I can communicate with. I have people around me that have been with me on this journey, so they understand the process. They understand, they've seen the highs, the lows, what goes on. I've got a fantastically supportive girlfriend now who comes pretty much to every game home and away, and she understands that sometimes I can be a bit moody if we lose, and sometimes I feel great if we win, which is not necessarily easy for her. I think talking, just being open and honest about how you're feeling, is always good. And then taking time out away from the game to do things that you enjoy, because we're all more than just footballers. I love to play golf. I love to research certain things that I'm interested in online. Watch some YouTube, just get lost in different things. And I think just having a little bit of personal space and time away from the game is important too.
That escapism.
Yeah.
And personal development, what does that mean to you?
For me, personal development is just trying to improve across the board, whether that is as a footballer, whether that's your social skills, like me being able to sit here and talk to you now, whether that's your fitness, whether that's how you look, whether that's your relationships, everything. I just think trying to be as a complete individual is important in general, but also if you are wanting to become a professional footballer, and I'm assuming that's the goal of most of the people that you're going to send this out to, the kids in the academies, then I think it's beneficial for your football as well.
Absolutely. So, you spend every day crafting your football skills, your hard skills, and it is those soft skills which can be developed in other environments. Have you got anything that you think of now as an example where you will go away from the grass and you can feel yourself developing as a person, where those things will come back to you, help your football?
Yeah, I think you can literally learn from any situation, and I'm trying to think of an example which is going to be applicable to the scholars. So it could be something as simple as going to a family party and you're standing there and you're having to talk to your aunties and uncles, a lot of which you don't have common ground with necessarily. And that could be the same as you going into a first team environment where you don't have common ground with some of the older players, but yet you've still got to come together because you're teammates at the end of the day. Being able to communicate with people is really important. What other examples can I think of? Yeah, I would say just putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. Sometimes you first break into the first team, you might get invited to go play golf with some of the teammates, and that can be quite a daunting thing if you think you've got to spend 4 hours with people that you're not all that close with yet. Just say yes, be a yes man, go and put yourself in every scenario, do things you're uncomfortable with doing, and all of a sudden you realise it's not all that scary, and you come out a more developed person on the other side.
Absolutely. And throughout the apprenticeship programme, you'll have had support from LFE, from the club. How well has that prepared you for embracing all that life can throw at you?
Fantastic. I think LFE is a fantastic organisation. Millwall were very good as well. In the afternoons of the scholarship, we used to have a lot of specialists come in and give talk to us on whether it was money management, social skills, preparing for life after football, and all of these things are really valuable, and you don't necessarily realise that at the time. And even myself, I would say that I was a person that used to sit there and think, do you know what, this is going to be valuable to me, but you still can't understand the value of it compared to when you're actually in that situation, and all those things are really apt now. So I would say, yeah, just soak everything up because you will need those skills. Obviously, the education, I was lucky that I've made it to my position now. Not everyone does, but I know I had a lot of teammates in the youth team who've gone on to have or start quite successful careers outside of football because of the work and qualifications they got whilst doing their diploma. So apply yourself in that area too.
Sure. I also noticed you won the PFA Championship Community Award as well. So just talk to me a little bit about why it is that you engage outside of the white lines with the community, and what you've taken from that and what you're looking to offer.
Well, I think that, without realizing it, your outside of football life is really important to help you get to where you want to get to, and take that one step further. That's the community. I think once you make it to first team level, you're obviously in a very privileged position, and I think it's important to try and give back to the people that help you get to where you've got to, and you can use that kind of influence or power that you have in a really positive way. It was also important to me to show to the community that Millwall is a good club, because obviously it's the club that I've grown up supporting, and I feel like sometimes they can get a bad rep. And I just wanted everyone to, when I won that award, not only is that great for our community trust, but it represents Millwall in a great light, and that's something that was important to me too. So between those two reasons.
Yeah, you've absolutely done that. And what's next for you? In a lot of people's eyes, you will have made it. But what's that take on that for yourself?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I'm only 22, and I want to have a career that spans until my mid-30s, hopefully. And yeah, I want to play at the highest level. Be that with Millwall or elsewhere, and that means working hard day in day out. But I've had a very good start to my career. I've been lucky enough to have a manager and a club that believe in me and play a lot of games. But there's plenty more that I want to add to my football game personally. There's plenty more that I want to see from myself from a personal development perspective. So yeah, I'm nowhere near where I want to be yet, but I have got time to work on it. So I think surrounding yourself with the right people is really important, and hopefully I can and keep making progress, on the field and off the field in the next couple of years. Yeah, it's hard to know what that means just yet, because what you value changes as you get older. But for me, playing at the highest level and having a very secure off the pitch life is what's important.
And that leads me on nicely. So your brother Zach plays for Charlton Athletic, won
Yeah.
Apprentice of the Year last season. Can you talk to me about your relationship with him?
Yeah, it makes me smile thinking about it, because we get on really, really well. He's had his own sort of trials and tribulations this season. He's just gone on loan to Colchester. He thought he was going to get a chance at Charlton this season. It didn't quite materialise that way. They obviously had a change of manager as well, so he's had to deal with all of those things which are new to him. He's gone to Colchester. He started off really, really well. He's enjoying his football, and he's had to move away from home because the journey was just outside of what was suitable for him to do daily. So he's got a whole bunch of new challenges. We still stay in contact regularly. He's actually better at calling me and checking in than I am with him, which is bad considering I'm the older brother. But no, I'm exceptionally proud of him. I would like to think that I've been there to try and give him some. It sounds stupid to say at 22 years old, but wisdom, because I'm 4 years ahead of where he is. And I think that football is like a very niche kind of industry with the kind of things you have to deal with day in, day out and mentally. And not many people can really understand what those challenges are. So, whenever he needs advice, I always tell him he can come to me, but he's doing great so far. And I also value his opinions because he's got a very level head. And sometimes when I'm not feeling so great about football, he's actually one of the few people that really gets it. So, yeah, we've got a really good relationship.
That's great to hear. And like you say, you secure off the field life support network, and it's a great example. Two big important questions to round off with. Firstly, what advice do you have for academy players and parents?
Did you say academy players and parents, or academy players' parents?
And parents, so people engage with the academy experience. What advice, something that you would suggest is useful to keep in mind?
I would say you have to realise what an opportunity you have. And, for the players, I would say be as adaptable and as mouldable and as willing to learn as you possibly can be. Because from my experience and what I've seen, it's not, often it is, but it's not always the best players that get to play first team football. It's the ones that can learn, it's the ones that can adapt and change themselves to different scenarios, and the ones that are reliable and versatile. Those are characteristics that I think are not talked about enough. I often talk about how good you are, with the ball in one-on-one situations, or how good your heading is, and that's really important, and you have to develop those skills with your coaches. But I would say that the skills that I just talked about are for me of equal to, if not greater, importance. And for the parents, everyone has different situations. So, I'm certainly not going to, I'm not a parent myself. I really don't understand what it's like. So I'm not going to lecture, but I think, the child has a fantastic opportunity. And I would say just encourage them, try and take pressure off them in ways. I know that I play my best when I'm sort of feeling the least pressure. And just encourage them to do the right things and be themselves and express themselves, and encourage them to put themselves in difficult situations. Like I just said, going out with their teammates, encourage them to be social and do all of those things, because I think it will make them grow up really quickly and will bode them well in the future.
Great shout. And what did you need from your parents, carers, and what did you not need?
That's a good question. You're getting me thinking, Simon. What did I need? Probably fairness, I would say, because I've got a family around me that are fantastic. So I would say, yeah, fairness, because you have to be told when you're doing well, and you want to build on that confidence and that momentum, and you want support. But equally, it's important to have the other side of it, that when you take your foot off the gas, or maybe your friends or your family or your guardians see that you're not focused, them saying to you, "No, come on, this is really important to you, and I don't think you're applying yourself in to the best of your capabilities." I think you want to have both sides. It's not only that you can never have people, like, you can only have people tell you how good you are and all that kind of stuff. You have to have the other side, and people to keep you in check, and people to keep you on the right path. And I certainly had that, and I think that's been very beneficial to me. What was the second part of your question?
What did you not need?
What did I not need? People making your head big, people equally knocking your confidence. Do you know what? I think this is one thing that I've learned. So I don't think you can necessarily expect everyone to know it. But if I'm giving advice, I would say try and stay as level as possible. because there will be ups and there will be downs. And, you know, fans ride that wave, players ride that wave, managers and coaches, I'm sure, do, friends and family do. And I found that really unhelpful. You know, you have to realize that when you have an excellent game, that is great, but there is another one next week or maybe even a few days away and you've got to go again. So don't get carried away. But equally, when you've not played so well, or you're have a loss of form, it is purely a phase and you'll come out the other side, and provided you do the right work, you can get back on the right path and you will feel good again. So having people that don't get too swayed by like emotion and stay quite level and always remind you that you want to play well, but there's other things going on outside of football as well. That is very helpful, I find.
Gold dust. And final question. It's a profound one. So, just a few words from you on it. Who is Billy Mitchell, the person?
Okay. I would like to think that I'm responsible. I'd like to think that I am caring and can and strive to be the best version of myself every day. I would like to think hardworking, you know, but like everyone else, I have times where perhaps I don't do the things that I should. And I would like to think that I'm someone who tries to get his life in order as best as possible, whether that be off the pitch, you know, or on it. But you'd have to ask my friends and family to see if that's true.
I have no doubts about that. You've been outstanding. Thanks, Billy. And we're very proud at LFE to know that people like yourself have come through our programme and can talk and give so much insight to such special things that you're doing. So thank you.
And cheers, Simon. I appreciate it, mate. Good to have a
Thank you
chat.
very much. Half on everybody who's watching as well. Thank you.